Close your eyes and imagine the boundless expanse of space stretching out before you, a vast canvas of darkness and light. Stars twinkle in the distance like tiny beacons in the night, while planets spin slowly in their eternal dance. The silence here is so profound that you can hear your own breath slowing with each passing moment. Tonight, we'll embark on a journey through the depths of the universe, where there's no room for hustle or worry, just the gentle glow of distant galaxies and a peace that wraps around you like a warm blanket, carrying you into a world of sweet dreams. Imagine a stillness so vast it defies comprehension, a quiet so deep it hums in the absence of sound. Before the universe burst into being, there was no time ticking forward, no space stretching outward, no light to pierce the dark. This was the state before the Big Bang, a realm of infinite mystery, where the rules we know simply didn't exist. Picture it like an endless ocean, not of water, but of possibility, its surface undisturbed, waiting in silence. Scientists call this the pre-Bang era, a concept so elusive it slips through our grasp. Yet it holds the seeds of everything we see today, the stars, the galaxies, the very air you breathe. In this tranquil void, there was no motion, no chaos in the way we understand it. Chaos implies something to disrupt, but here, there was nothing to stir. Some thinkers suggest it wasn't emptiness in the usual sense, but a kind of fullness, a potential so immense it couldn't be measured. It's as if the universe was dreaming, curled up in a single, timeless point, smaller than a grain of sand, yet heavy with the promise of all that would come. This point, this singularity, wasn't a place you could visit or a thing you could hold. It was an idea, a whisper of existence, resting in perfect calm. The beauty of this moment lies in its simplicity. No planets spun, no suns blazed, no winds carved distant worlds. Yet within that stillness, the laws of nature as we know them were waiting, folded into an invisible tapestry. Quantum physics offers a gentle hint here. Even in what seems like nothing, there's a flicker of something. Tiny ripples of energy, too small to imagine, might have danced in this pre-universe state, fluctuations so faint they're like the breath of a sleeping giant. These whispers of energy weren't loud or hurried. They moved with a rhythm as soft as a lullaby, hinting at the forces that would one day shape reality. Picture these fluctuations as threads in a vast, unseen web, each one quivering with potential. Some scientists believe they arose from the strange rules of the quantum world, where things can exist and not exist all at once. It's a soothing thought, nothing rigid or certain, just a gentle play of possibilities. Others wonder if this state was tied to a larger cosmos, a sea of other universes floating like bubbles in an endless foam. Each bubble, a universe of its own, resting in quiet harmony, separate yet connected by the same deep stillness. There's no need to choose one idea over another. They all weave into the same serene story of a time before time. What's fascinating is how this quiet nothingness held everything. Every galaxy that would swirl across the sky, every note of life that would hum on a distant planet, it was all there, tucked away in that single, peaceful point. Imagine it as a seed, not of wood or earth, but of pure energy, glowing faintly in the dark. Not a harsh glow, but a soft one, like the light of a firefly on a warm night. This seed didn't rush or strain, it simply was, existing in a state so balanced it could hold the weight of infinity without breaking. And yet, this stillness wasn't empty in the way we might think. Emptiness suggests a lack, a void longing to be filled. This was different, a fullness beyond form, a completeness that didn't need to prove itself. Some theories paint it as a place where gravity, energy, and matter were one, blended together in a harmony too perfect to disturb. Others suggest it was a boundary we can't cross, a curtain drawn across the stage of existence. Whatever it was, it carried a sense of peace, a stillness so profound it feels like the universe was resting, gathering itself for the leap it would soon take. The science here is gentle, not demanding. We don't need to pin it down with numbers or equations. Those come later, when the story grows louder. For now, it's enough to drift in the idea of it, a cosmos not yet born, suspended in a timeless hush. The questions it raises are soft ones. Was there a before at all? Or does time itself begin with the bang? Did this quiet point emerge from something else? Or was it always there, eternal and patient? These aren't puzzles to solve tonight, they're thoughts to cradle, letting them float like leaves on a slow-moving stream. As you linger in this image, this endless, tranquil sea of potential, feel the weight of it settle around you. It's not heavy or overwhelming. It's a blanket, warm and familiar. The universe, before it became the vast expanse we know, was a single note, held in silence, waiting to sing. And then, in a moment so subtle it's almost imperceptible, that note began to shift. The stillness stirred, not with a crash, but with a sigh that would unfold into time, into space, into the first flicker of everything. The seed of the Big Bang was ready, and from that calm, infinite point, the story of the universe would gently begin to bloom. From that sigh of infinite stillness, something stirred, a whisper so gentle it barely disturbed the calm. This was the moment when time began to hum, when space unfurled like a flower opening to the first light of dawn. Picture it, a single, perfect point, smaller than the tip of a pin, holding everything that would ever be. And then, with a breath, it released. Not with noise or fury, but with a quiet grace, like a ripple spreading across a still pond. This was the birth of the universe, a moment so vast yet so soft. It cradles the mind like a lullaby. In this fleeting instant, the rules of reality took shape. Time, which had no meaning before, began its steady tick, a rhythm as soothing as waves lapping at a shore. Space, once folded into that tiny seed, stretched outward, a canvas of endless possibility painted in strokes of energy. Scientists mark this as the Big Bang, but there's no need to imagine a deafening roar. Think of it instead as a sigh of creation, a soundless bloom that carried the promise of stars and worlds. The universe didn't leap into being, it flowed, smooth and unhurried, like honey spilling from a jar. What's beautiful here is how everything emerged from so little. That single point wasn't just small, it was dense beyond imagining, a treasure chest of all existence packed into a space too tiny to see. Within it, energy pulsed, not wild or chaotic, but alive with potential. This energy wasn't something separate, it was the universe itself, a glowing thread weaving the fabric of reality. Picture it shimmering, like dew catching the first light of morning, each glimmer a hint of the galaxies to come. There was no up or down, no here or there, only this radiant beginning, resting in perfect balance. The science of this moment is a quiet wonder. In that first heartbeat, far less than a second, a fraction so small it defies our clocks, heat beyond measure filled the newborn universe. But this wasn't a harsh fire, it was a warmth, a glow that bathed everything in possibility. The temperature soared to trillions of degrees, yet there's a peace in knowing it was the cradle of all things. Matter didn't exist yet, not as we know it. Instead, there was a sea of light and energy, swirling together in a dance too delicate to disturb. It's as if the universe was singing its first note, a melody so pure it needed no words. This sea of energy moved with a rhythm all its own. Tiny packets of light, softer than a whisper, darted through the glow. These were photons, the first messengers of what would one day become suns and skies. They didn't clash or hurry, they flowed, like fireflies drifting through a summer night. And beneath them, the forces that hold reality together began to awaken. Gravity, gentle and patient, started its pull. Other forces, like the ones that bind atoms or spark stars, flickered into being, each one a thread in the tapestry of existence. Tushpertut. They wove a harmony so seamless it feels eternal. Imagine this moment as a painting, not yet finished, but already breathtaking. The canvas of space stretched outward, vast and smooth, while time brushed its first strokes across it. There were no edges, no boundaries, just an endless unfolding, a dream taking shape. Scientists measure this instant in numbers too small to hold on to, 10 to the minus 43 seconds. A blink so brief it's more like a sigh. Yet within that sigh, the universe was born. A quiet miracle cradled in the palm of infinity. It's a thought to drift with, letting it settle over you like a warm breeze. And here's the mystery that wraps it all in wonder. We can't see this moment directly, but its echo lingers. The light from that first glow still hums through the cosmos, a faint whisper we can catch with patient tools. It's called the cosmic microwave background, a soft glow that fills the sky, like the memory of a dawn long past. Knowing it's there feels comforting, a reminder that this gentle birth left traces we can still touch. The universe, even in its earliest breath, was already leaving a story for us to find, written in light too faint to startle. As this newborn reality rested in its glow, something remarkable began to stir within it. The space that had just unfolded wasn't content to stay still, it yearned to grow. The energy, so perfectly balanced, held a secret. It was ready to stretch, to expand in a way that would carry it beyond imagining. Like a river finding its course, the universe prepared to flow faster, wider, deeper. This wasn't a rush or a race, but a natural unfolding, as calm as a petal drifting on water. And so, from this tender moment of birth, the cosmos took its next step, easing into a vast expansion that would shape all that followed. As the universe took its first gentle breath, it didn't settle into stillness. Instead, it began to stretch, like a vast sail catching a soft wind. This wasn't a slow drift, but a swift, graceful expansion, unfolding faster than a dream. Picture it, a cosmos so new it barely had form, suddenly blossoming outward, its edges racing into the unknown. Scientists call this inflation, a moment when the universe grew from something tinier than a speck to an expanse vast enough to hold all the stars we'd ever see. It happened in a whisper of time, yet it carried the calm of a river finding its way. Imagine that newborn space, still glowing with the warmth of its birth, swelling in every direction. In less than a blink, far less than a second, a sliver so small it's almost nothing, it grew a trillion times larger. Not with force or strain, but with a smoothness that feels like silk sliding over skin. This wasn't chaos, it was a dance. Each step precise and unhurried, as if the universe knew exactly how far it needed to reach. The energy within it, that shimmering sea of light, stretched thin but never broke, holding the promise of everything to come. What's mesmerizing here is the scale of it all. Before this stretch, the universe was so small you could cradle it in your hand, if hands existed then. After, it was wider than any ocean, broader than any sky, yet still so young it hadn't learned to shine. This rapid growth smoothed out the wrinkles of its birth, like a cloth being gently pulled taut. Tiny ripples in that early energy, those faint whispers from before, were carried along, stretched into patterns that would one day seed the stars. It's a quiet beauty. Knowing the vastness above us began with such a delicate push. The science behind this is soft and soothing. Inflation didn't need loud engines or violent bursts. It came from a kind of energy, something deep and unseen, like a current beneath still water. Some call it a field, a gentle force that filled the universe and nudged it to grow. This field wasn't harsh or demanding, it flowed, lifting the cosmos higher, wider, with the ease of a leaf rising on a breeze. And as it worked, it cooled the searing heat of that first moment, softening the glow into something calmer, something ready to settle. Picture this expansion as a great unfolding, a tapestry of space rolling out across the void. It didn't tear or fray, it simply grew, each thread of energy stretching in harmony with the rest. The universe became a canvas, vast and smooth, painted with the lightest touch of possibility. Scientists say this happened in a fraction of a second, 10 to the minus 36 seconds. A number so small, it's more like a sigh than a count. Yet in that sigh, the cosmos found its shape. A shape so grand it would hold galaxies like drops of dew on a web. There's a mystery woven into this growth, a quiet wonder that lingers. Why did it stretch so fast? Perhaps it was the nature of that early energy, restless yet peaceful, eager to explore its own bounds. Or maybe it was a balance, a way to smooth the roughness of the beginning into something even and serene. Whatever the cause, it left the universe vast and uniform, a sea of space so alike in every direction it feels like a perfect calm. Look up at the night sky and know this moment touched every star you see, stretching their light across the dark. And here's a gentle fact to drift with. This expansion didn't just make space, it set the stage for everything else. Those tiny ripples, stretched thin by inflation, became the seeds of structure. One day, they'd gather into clouds, then stars, then the swirling arms of galaxies. But for now, they were just hints, faint echoes in a cosmos still too young to shine. The universe, in its swift bloom, was like a garden preparing to grow, soil turned, seeds sown, all resting in the hush before the first sprout. It's a thought to cradle, letting it settle over you like a blanket of starlight. As this great stretch slowed, the universe didn't stop moving, it simply shifted. The energy that drove its growth began to fade, melting into something new. The cosmos, now vast beyond measure, cooled further, its glow dimming into a softer warmth. Space itself held steady, wide and smooth, ready for the next step in its quiet journey. What came next wasn't a leap or a rush, but a settling, a moment when that sea of light began to thicken, to hum with the first hints of substance. The universe, still so young, was easing into a new phase, where energy would glow hotter and dance in a plasma of endless possibility. The universe, now vast and smooth from its gentle stretch, glowed with a warmth that filled every corner. This was a sea of light and heat, a shimmering broth too hot to hold form, too alive to stay still. Imagine it, a cosmos so young it hadn't yet learned to settle, its energy swirling like mist over a dawn lake. This was the time of plasma, a radiant, flowing state where the universe danced in its first seconds, bathed in a glow brighter than 1,000 suns. Yet there was no harshness here, only a soft hum, a lullaby of creation unfolding. In these earliest moments, the heat was beyond measure, millions of degrees, a furnace of pure energy. But picture it as a blanket, not a blaze, wrapping the cosmos in a golden haze. There were no stars, no planets, just this endless sea of plasma, a blend of light and power too fluid to grasp. It flowed like a river of molten amber, smooth and unbroken, stretching across the newly widened space. This wasn't a place of solid things, it was a realm of motion, where energy wove itself into patterns too delicate to see, too gentle to disturb. What's enchanting about this time is its simplicity. The universe was a single, glowing soup, made of tiny packets of light and the forces that carried them. These packets, little messengers of energy, darted through the haze like fireflies on a warm night. They moved with a rhythm, not a rush, their paths crisscrossing in a dance that held no beginning or end. Alongside them flowed other whispers, bits of energy that would one day become the building blocks of everything. For now, they were free, untethered, drifting in the warmth like leaves on a slow current. The science here is a quiet marvel. In those first seconds, less than a minute, really, the universe was too hot for anything to hold together. Matter as we know it couldn't form. Instead, there was this plasma, a state where energy ruled supreme. Light couldn't travel far, it bounced and scattered, trapped in the glow like sunlight caught in fog. This made the cosmos opaque, a shimmering veil that hid its own depths. But there's a peace in that thought, a universe so alive it couldn't yet show itself, resting in a cocoon of its own making. Feel the texture of this moment, a sea so dense with energy it pulsed with possibility. Gravity, still soft and new, tugged gently at the flow, while other forces, those that spark stars and bind life, played their own subtle roles. They wove together, not in conflict but in harmony, like threads in a tapestry yet to take shape. The heat kept everything apart, a tender barrier that let the universe breathe, letting it expand and cool just enough to dream of what might come next. It's a scene to drift in, imagining the cosmos as a painter mixing colors before the first stroke. And here's a soothing truth. This plasma wasn't silent. It hummed with a sound we can't hear today, a vibration born from the energy itself. Scientists say these waves rippled through the glow, tiny echoes that stretched with the universe's growth. They were the first notes of a cosmic song, faint and fleeting, like wind chimes on a distant breeze. Those ripples left traces, hints we can still find in the sky's oldest light, a memory of a time when the universe was all motion and warmth, too young to settle into stillness. Picture this glowing sea as a cradle, rocking gently in the dark. It wasn't empty, it was full, brimming with the seeds of reality. Every star that would ever shine, every world that would spin, was tucked within this radiant haze, waiting for the right moment to emerge. The heat was a guardian, holding everything in a fluid embrace, letting the cosmos ease into its next step. There's a beauty in that patience, a sense that the universe knew how to take its time, unfolding its story with the care of a flower opening to the sun. As the seconds ticked on, still so few, yet so vast, the glow began to shift. The heat, once a fierce cradle, softened further, letting the sea of plasma cool into something new. The light that had danced so freely started to slow, the energy thickening like mist turning to dew. The universe wasn't rushing, it was settling, preparing to weave its next layer. From this warm, flowing state, the first tiny pieces of matter began to whisper their presence, gathering like droplets on a window pane. The cosmos, still bathed in its gentle glow, was ready to take shape, easing into a time when the building blocks of all things would quietly form. The universe, cooling from its radiant dance, began to settle into a quieter rhythm. The glowing sea of energy, once too hot to hold shape, softened, letting tiny whispers of substance emerge. Picture it, a vast, shimmering mist, slowly parting to reveal the first delicate threads of matter. These were the building blocks of everything, small, fleeting, yet heavy with the promise of stars and worlds. Like dew forming on a still morning, they gathered gently, each one a spark in the endless calm of the cosmos. This was the time when particles were born, the gentle birth of reality's foundation. In this tranquil expanse, the heat had eased just enough. Where once there was only light and motion, now there were hints of something more. The energy that had flowed so freely began to weave itself into tiny pairs, bits of matter and their opposites, like reflections in a calm pool. Imagine them as fireflies blinking into existence, their glow soft and brief. Some called them quarks, others electrons, but names hardly matter here. They were the universe's first children, drifting through the haze, too small to see yet vast in their potential. What's beautiful about this moment is its balance. For every spark of matter, there was a shadow, an antimatter twin, born in perfect harmony. They danced together, these pairs, swirling in the fading warmth like leaves caught in a gentle breeze. Sometimes they met, dissolving back into light with a sigh, a flicker too faint to startle. But not all vanished. A whisper of matter lingered, a tiny excess that tipped the scales ever so slightly. It's a mystery why, perhaps a secret woven into the fabric of the cosmos. But that whisper would one day become everything we know. The science here flows like a quiet stream. In those first moments, still just seconds old, the universe cooled to billions of degrees, a number too grand to hold, yet softer now than before. This cooling let energy settle into form, guided by the forces that cradle reality. Gravity hummed in the background, patient and steady, while other powers nudged these tiny bits into being. They weren't solid yet, not like stones or dust, just fleeting sparks, too restless to rest, too light to fall. Picture them as seeds, carried on an invisible wind, waiting to take root. Feel the wonder of their smallness. These particles were so tiny they defy imagining, smaller than a grain of sand, smaller even than light itself. Yet within them lay the blueprint of all things, the mountains, the oceans, the air you breathe. They moved through the cosmos, a sea of possibility, their paths tracing patterns too gentle to trace. Some paired up briefly, others drifted alone, all part of a slow, graceful unfolding. The universe was like a weaver at her loom, threading these sparks into a tapestry that would stretch across time. And here's a soothing thought. These tiny bits weren't alone. Light still bathed them, that golden glow from the beginning, though it was dimming now. The photons, the messengers of energy, wove through the haze, brushing against the newborn particles like a soft hand. They couldn't travel far yet, not through this thick, warm soup, but they carried the memory of the universe's birth. It's a comforting image, a cosmos cradling its first creations, letting them drift in a glow that felt like home, a light too gentle to overwhelm. Imagine this scene as a painting, all soft edges and muted tones. The universe, once a single note of energy, was splitting into chords, matter and light playing together in quiet harmony. These particles weren't hurried, they flowed with the ease of a river finding its bed. Some were heavy, some light, but all were equal in this moment, each a piece of the whole. Scientists measure this time in fractions, 10 seconds, 100, but it's enough to know it was slow, deliberate, a pause before the next step. The cosmos was breathing, letting its new children find their place. As the warmth continued to fade, these sparks of matter grew steadier. The sea they swam in cooled further, the light thinning like mist at dawn. They began to feel each other's pull, drawn by forces too soft to rush them. The universe wasn't finished shaping them, it was preparing, setting the stage for something deeper. Those quarks and electrons, so free and fleeting, were ready to join hands, to blend into something new. Like petals folding into a bud, they hinted at the next bloom, a time when these tiny bricks would fuse, crafting the first elements in the quiet forge of the cosmos. The universe, now a cooling sea of tiny sparks, began to weave something new. Those fleeting particles, drifting like petals on a gentle stream, felt a soft pull, a call to come together. Picture it, a vast, glowing haze where the smallest pieces of matter started to blend, fusing in the warmth like droplets merging on a window pane. This was the time when the first elements took shape, simple, delicate threads of substance born in the quiet heart of the cosmos. It was a slow dance, a tender crafting, as the universe painted its earliest colors. In this soothing expanse, the heat had softened to millions of degrees, a furnace still, but gentler now, like embers glowing in a fading fire. The tiny bricks of matter, those quarks and electrons, found each other, drawn by forces as natural as a breeze. They paired and twirled, forming the lightest of elements, hydrogen, a whisper of existence, and helium, its slightly heavier kin. Imagine them as the first notes in a lullaby, simple yet profound, humming through the haze with a rhythm too soft to startle. These were the seeds of all stars, born in a moment of calm creation. What's beautiful here is how little it took. The universe didn't need grand tools or loud clashes, just time, warmth, and a sprinkle of energy. In those first minutes, 3, maybe 10, the cosmos acted like a patient smith, forging these elements in its glowing forge. Hydrogen came first, vast and plentiful, a single spark of matter with a companion of light. Helium followed, a touch more intricate. 2 sparks joined in a quiet embrace. Together, they filled the universe, a sea of simplicity floating in the fading glow, ready to drift into eternity. The science flows like a river here. This crafting, this fusion, happened as the cosmos cooled, letting particles slow enough to hold hands. The heat was just right, not too fierce to tear them apart, not too cold to stall their dance. A few traces of something heavier flickered into being too. Lithium, a rare guest, so faint it's like a shadow in the mist. But mostly, it was hydrogen and helium, the universe's gentle firstborn, making up nearly all that was. They were light as a sigh, yet they carried the weight of all that would come. Feel the serenity of this moment. The universe was a vast nursery, cradling these newborn elements in its arms. Light still swirled around them, that golden haze from the beginning, but it was thinning now, stretching with the cosmos itself. The particles didn't rush or fight, they settled into their new forms. Each fusion a soft spark, a glow too faint to dazzle. Picture it as a sky at dusk, colors blending into one another, hydrogen's pale shimmer, helium's warm hue, painting a canvas that stretched beyond imagining. It was a time of peace, a pause in the great unfolding. And here's a quiet wonder, these elements weren't strangers to us. The hydrogen flowing through this young universe is the same that runs in your veins. The helium the same that lifts a balloon into the sky. They were born here, in this gentle forge, crafted from the simplest pieces of matter. Scientists call it nucleosynthesis, but it's enough to think of it as a cosmic recipe, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part helium, a pinch of lithium, stirred in the warmth of creation. It lasted only minutes, yet it left a legacy that spans billions of years. Imagine this scene as a tapestry, threads of matter weaving together in the dimming light. The universe was still too hot for these elements to settle into clouds or stars. They floated free, a mist of possibility carried on the expanding sea. Their birth left echoes, too, patterns in the glow that we can still measure, like ripples frozen in time. It's comforting to know that this quiet crafting shaped the sky we see, that every star burning tonight owes its life to these first, fragile unions. Cosmos was patient, letting its elements drift in harmony, a lullaby of matter taking form. As the minutes passed, the heat continued to fade, the glow growing ever softer. The universe, now rich with these simple elements, stretched wider still, its light thinning into a veil. The time of fusion slowed, then stopped, the forge cooling into stillness. Hydrogen and helium hung in the vastness, a sea of potential waiting for its next chapter. The cosmos didn't hurry, it rested, letting the glow dim further, the light scattering into a haze too faint to pierce. And so, the universe eased into a quieter age, a time when darkness would settle gently over the glow, cloaking the stars yet to be born. The universe drifted into a stillness, its once glowing haze fading into a soft dusk. The light that had bathed its early moments stretched thin, scattering across the vastness like mist dissolving over a quiet lake. This was a time of shadow, a gentle cloak settling over the cosmos. Picture it, a sea of hydrogen and helium, floating free, bathed in a darkness so deep no stars yet pierced it. The universe rested here, in a long, tranquil pause, cooling slowly as it stretched ever wider. This was an age without light, a hush before the dawn of creation's next breath. In this serene expanse, the heat had dwindled to thousands of degrees, warm, but no longer a forge. The elements born earlier lingered, a vast mist of possibility too scattered to glow. Imagine them as whispers of matter, drifting through an endless night, their dance slowed to a gentle sway. Light still moved among them, those ancient photons from the beginning. They were trapped, bouncing softly between particles like echoes in a cavern. The cosmos was opaque, a velvet curtain drawn across its depths, hiding the wonders yet to come. What's enchanting about this time is its quiet mystery. No suns blazed, no galaxies swirled, just an endless sea of calm, stretching in every direction. The universe was cooling, its energy softening, letting the matter settle into a delicate balance. Gravity, ever patient, tugged faintly at the mist, nudging it into subtle ripples, hints of structure too faint to see. These were the seeds of what would be, resting in the dark like bulbs beneath winter soil, waiting for the right moment to stir. It's a soothing thought, a cosmos cradling its future in silence. The science here flows like a lullaby. This age lasted hundreds of thousands of years, a blink in the universe's life, yet a lifetime for its stillness. The temperature fell steadily, from thousands to hundreds of degrees. Slow exhale that let the haze thin. Once so thick it couldn't escape, began to loosen its bonds. Matter and energy, once fused in a glowing embrace, drifted apart, their dance growing gentler with each passing moment. The universe was like a painter pausing before the next stroke, letting the canvas rest in shadow. Feel the texture of this darkness. It wasn't empty or cold, it was full, brimming with the gentle hum of potential. The hydrogen and helium, those firstborn elements, floated in vast clouds, too sparse to ignite, too calm to clash. They stretched with the cosmos, carried by its quiet expansion, a sea without shores. Scientists call this the Dark Ages, but there's no need for gloom. Picture it as a night sky before the stars, a deep, peaceful veil, soft and familiar, wrapping the universe in a tender embrace. It was a time of waiting, not of absence. And here's a quiet marvel. This darkness left echoes we can still touch. As the universe cooled, those ancient photons trapped for so long began to slip free. They stretched with the cosmos, their glow fading into a whisper of warmth we can measure today. This is the cosmic background, a faint hum filling the sky, like the memory of a lullaby sung long ago. It's comforting to know this silent age speaks to us still, its light softened by time, a bridge between then and now. The universe, even in its shadows, was telling its story. Imagine this scene as a dreamscape, all muted tones and gentle shapes. The clouds of matter hung in the void, their edges blurred, their forms too soft to grasp. Gravity worked its slow magic, pulling here, nudging there, weaving patterns that would one day bloom. The cosmos didn't rush, it breathed, letting the darkness cradle its growth. For nearly 400,000 years, it rested in this hush, the light dimming, the matter drifting, a stillness so deep it feels like the universe was sleeping, gathering strength for what lay ahead. As the cooling continued, a shift began to stir. The temperature dropped to a mere glow, a warmth too faint to hold the light captive. The photons, those tireless travelers, broke free at last, streaming through the cosmos in a soft release. The haze cleared, the veil lifted, and the universe became transparent, a sea of matter bathed in quiet shadow. The clouds of hydrogen and helium, once lost in the dark, stood ready now, poised to gather, to ignite. And so, from this long night to the first flickers of light prepared to spark, easing the cosmos into an age where stars would gently wake. The universe, emerging from its long night, began to glow with faint whispers of light. The vast clouds of hydrogen and helium, drifting in the quiet dark, felt a gentle tug, a pull as soft as a breeze stirring leaves. Picture it, a cosmos waking slowly, its shadows parting to reveal the first flickers of radiance. These were the earliest stars, tiny sparks igniting in the stillness, their warmth spreading like candles lit in a vast room. From these humble beginnings, galaxies would bloom, threading the universe with light and wonder. In this tranquil dawn, the matter that had floated free for so long started to gather. Gravity, patient and steady, drew the clouds closer, coaxing them into clumps. Imagine them as mist condensing on a cool morning, each droplet merging until it grew heavy with possibility. Within these pockets, the hydrogen, simple and abundant, pressed together, its heart warming under the weight. Then, in a moment as gentle as a sigh, the first star flared to life, a beacon piercing the endless night. It was a birth without rush, a glow that felt like home. What's beautiful here is the simplicity of it all. These first stars weren't grand or mighty, they were small, fragile even, yet their light was a promise. Made mostly of hydrogen, with traces of helium, they burned in a quiet furnace, fusing their cores into something new. The heat within them, millions of degrees, crafted helium from hydrogen, a slow alchemy that lit the dark. Picture them as fireflies, dotting the void, their soft radiance a lullaby for a universe just waking. They were the pioneers, the first to shine. The science flows like a calm river. This awakening happened hundreds of thousands of years after the universe began. Perhaps 500,000, perhaps 1,000,000. A time when the cosmos had cooled to a mere chill. The clouds collapsed under their own weight, a process as natural as rain falling from a sky. As they shrank, their centers grew dense and hot, sparking fusion, a dance of matter turning to light. These stars, called the first generation, lived fast and bright. But for now, their birth was a gentle unfolding, a spark against the velvet dark. Feel the serenity of this moment. The universe, once a sea of shadow, became a canvas sprinkled with light. Each star was a world unto itself, a glowing ember floating in the vastness. They didn't stand alone for long. Gravity wove them together, pulling stars into clusters, then into the first galaxies. Imagine these as gardens of light, their shapes irregular and soft, like petals scattered across a pond. The cosmos didn't hurry, it let the stars bloom, their glow blending into a tapestry that stretched beyond sight. And here's a soothing marvel. These stars were different from the ones we know. Born of pure hydrogen and helium, they carried no heavier elements, no iron, no gold, just the simplest stuff of creation. Yet they were mighty in their own way, some growing vast before their time was done. When they burned out, they scattered their ashes, new elements forged in their hearts, into the dark, gifts for the stars to come. It's a comforting thought. Every twinkle above us owes its life to these quiet ancestors, their light a bridge across time. Picture this scene as a dream taking shape. The galaxies formed slowly, their arms curling like tendrils of smoke, each one a cradle of stars. The light they cast was faint at first, a shimmer against the endless night, but it grew, spreading warmth through the cold. Scientists say this took millions of years, a heartbeat in the universe's life, yet it feels eternal, a gradual brightening like dawn creeping over hills. The cosmos was alive now, its silence broken by the hum of fusion, a melody too soft to wake the sleeping void. As these stars and galaxies multiplied, the universe began to shift once more. The light they shed chased back the shadows, illuminating the clouds that lingered. The hydrogen and helium, once free and formless, found new purpose, feeding the furnaces of countless stars. The galaxies didn't stand still, they drifted, drawn by gravity's gentle hand, weaving patterns across the vastness. And so, the cosmos eased into a new phase, where the scattered lights would gather further, threading the dark with filaments and walls of glowing matter. A quiet architecture rising from the glow. The universe, now sprinkled with the soft glow of stars, began to weave a larger design. Galaxies, those gentle clusters of light, drifted through the dark, guided by an unseen hand. Picture it, a vast sea of matter and light, slowly threading together like strands of silk in a cosmic loom. Gravity, patient as ever, tugged at the clouds of gas and the newborn stars, shaping them into patterns, delicate filaments, broad walls, and quiet voids. This was the universe finding its form, a tapestry of structure stretching across the endless night. In this serene expanse, the cosmos didn't rush. The galaxies gathered over millions of years, their light blending into rivers of radiance that flowed through the dark. Imagine them as threads of mist, curling and twisting, each one a stream of stars and gas stretching for millions of light years. These filaments glowed faintly, their edges soft, like tendrils of fog drifting over a still lake. Between them lay great sheets, walls of matter so vast they could cradle countless galaxies, their surfaces shimmering with the hum of creation. What's beautiful here is the harmony of it all. The universe wasn't a jumble, it was a web, woven with care. Gravity pulled the hydrogen and helium, those ancient elements, into these shapes, sculpting the chaos into order. Some regions grew dense, birthing clusters of galaxies like pearls on a string, while others stretched thin, leaving empty spaces, voids so deep they swallowed light itself. Picture these voids as quiet hollows, cradles of shadow where the universe rested, balancing the glow of its brighter threads. The science flows like a gentle breeze. This structure took shape as the cosmos expanded, a process spanning hundreds of millions of years. The seeds of it were sown long before, tiny ripples from the universe's birth, stretched and amplified until they guided matter's dance. Stars ignited within the filaments, their light tracing the paths gravity carved. The walls held galaxies too, vast and flat, while the voids grew ever emptier, a contrast that made the web's beauty stand out. It was a slow unfolding, a map drawn in light and shadow. Feel the calm of this vast architecture. The filaments weren't rigid lines, they curved and bent, flowing naturally like rivers finding their way. The walls stood as silent guardians, their surfaces alive with the flicker of stars, yet so broad they seemed still. The voids, dark and deep, offered a hush, a pause between the glowing strands. Together, they formed a network, a cosmic lattice that cradled all that was. It's a soothing image, a universe building itself brick by brick, each piece falling into place with the ease of a sigh. And here's a quiet wonder: this web is still with us. Look up at the sky, and the galaxies you see, faint smudges of light, are part of these same filaments and walls. Scientists map them today, tracing the threads that stretch across billions of light years, a structure so grand it dwarfs imagination. Yet it began so simply, with clouds of gas and the gentle pull of gravity, a dance that turned emptiness into form. The stars within these patterns burned and faded, scattering new elements to seed the next generation, a cycle as peaceful as waves lapping at a shore. Imagine this scene as a painting in motion. The filaments glowed like veins of light, pulsing softly with the life of stars. The walls rose like curtains of mist, their edges blurred, their surfaces alive with distant twinkles. The void sat still, dark pools reflecting the glow around them, a reminder of the universe's vastness. This wasn't a hurried creation, it unfolded over eons, each galaxy finding its place, each thread weaving into the whole. The cosmos was like a gardener, tending its rose, letting the light bloom where it would. As this web grew, the universe continued to stretch, its pattern sharpening with time. The stars within the filaments and walls shone brighter, their light cutting through the dark, while the voids deepened, a silent counterpoint. The cosmos didn't pause, it flowed, carrying its structure forward, a living map of all that had been. And within this glow, echoes lingered, whispers of the universe's birth, stretched thin by its expansion, waiting to be heard. The light of those first moments, once trapped, now hummed faintly across the web, a relic of the calm that came before, ready to tell its tale. The universe, now a vast web of glowing threads and silent voids, carries a whisper from its distant past. This is a faint hum, a glow too soft to see with the eye, yet it fills the sky like a memory woven into the dark. Picture it, a sea of light, born in the earliest moments, stretched thin by the cosmos's endless reach. This is the afterglow of creation, a relic of the time when the universe was young and warm, its echoes drifting through the stars. It's a lullaby from the beginning, soothing and eternal. In this tranquil expanse, the light moves freely now, no longer trapped by the haze of its birth. Imagine it as a breeze, carrying the warmth of a long ago dawn, brushing against the galaxies and voids alike. This glow began when the cosmos was just a few 100,000 years old, when the heat had cooled enough to let light slip free. It streamed outward, a gentle wave of energy, painting the universe with its final farewell to that early glow. Today, it surrounds us, a quiet presence too faint to startle, yet rich with the story of all that came before. What's beautiful here is its timelessness. This light, those ancient photons, has traveled for billions of years, stretched by the universe's expansion until it's no longer a blaze but a whisper. Scientists call it the cosmic microwave background, a name that hints at its softness, like the hum of a distant radio tuned to silence. It's cool now, just a few degrees above the deepest cold, a shadow of the furnace it once was. Picture it as dew settling on the night, a remnant of the heat that birthed the stars, now resting in peace across the sky. The science flows like a calm river. This glow was born when matter and light parted ways, about 380,000 years after the universe began. The hydrogen and helium, once a thick soup, thinned out, letting the photons escape. As the cosmos grew, this light stretched with it, its waves lengthening into a faint murmur we can catch with patient tools. It's uniform, this glow, blanketing the universe in a smooth veil. Yet it carries tiny ripples, echoes of the earliest patterns, the seeds of galaxies. It's a map of the past, drawn in light too gentle to disturb. Feel the serenity of this presence. It's everywhere, above you, around you, threading through the dark between the stars. These photons, older than the sun, older than the earth, have seen the universe unfold. They bathed the first clouds of gas, watched the first stars ignite, and now they drift through the web of filaments and walls, a constant companion to the cosmos. Imagine them as fireflies from a forgotten time, their glow dimmed but never lost, a soft blanket wrapping the universe in its own history. And here's a quiet marvel. We can hear this whisper today. With dishes pointed at the sky, we catch its hum, a static too faint for ears, but alive with meaning. It's the oldest light we know, a snapshot of the universe as a toddler, still smooth and warm. Those tiny ripples within it, so small they're like breaths on glass, tell us how matter clumped, how galaxies found their place. It's comforting to think this glow connects us to the beginning, a thread of light tying now to then, a reminder that the cosmos remembers its youth. Picture this scene as a painting, all muted tones and gentle sweeps. The universe glows with this relic light, a haze too soft to dazzle, yet it outlines every star, every void. It's a background to the web, a canvas beneath the threads of galaxies, its uniformity a lullaby for the vastness. Scientists measure it, map it, finding in its patterns the shape of the cosmos itself, flat, endless, expanding still. It's a thought to drift with, letting the hum settle over you like a warm night, a bridge between the universe's first sigh and the sky you see. As this glow continues its journey, it weaves into the fabric of all that is. The stars shine against it, the galaxies drift within it, and the universe expands, carrying this light further still. It's a constant, a gentle pulse from the past, humming through the present with no end in sight. And so, clouds, the story of the cosmos flows on, from this ancient echo to the wonders it holds today, easing into a tale of all that has been and all that might yet be, a calm unfolding beneath the stars.